everybody, it's me, Tokkuri Yashi, and today we're going to be having a look at the Alpha Neneka, who I think might be the most popular of the three Alpha characters we have been given this month. Maybe Christina is a very close second. Perhaps I'll put up a poll on my channel to see what the community reaction is. Who is your favourite of these three Alpha characters we've been given this anniversary? So go and check that out. We'll see what the community reaction on that is. I don't want to pre-guess, although maybe I just did, saying I thought Neneka was the most popular. Anyway, we are looking at Alpha Neneka today, who, let's jump over to her banner and have a quick look at that first. It's here until the 28th of February. We all know who's coming after that. It is going to be Theo, the pre-fest character, the anniversary's main event. Hopefully we can all summon on here as well as this Neneka, but we're going to go over the skills today so you can make a decision. Do you really think this Neneka is crucial for your teams? As you can see here, limited character as always for these anniversary characters. We don't get very permanent characters these days. So let's have a quick look at Neneka here on this skills. As you see, there's a lot going on, but from this we can take that the Neneka sits at the back here, quite a far back in position 759. She is a magical character, as we know, on the dark element, and has been ranked or placed as a booster role, been given the booster role. Maybe some of these roles might be becoming a little bit contentious. See, boosters are characters that TP boost, action speed boost. She has got TP, but not a lot. I would say she does a lot more buffing or debuffing. She could be a buffer, a debuffer, or a booster. Anyway, they've given her the booster role, whatever. But from this, also, I want us to just have a look at these loop patterns here at the bottom and take note of them. Neneka's first action is S2, her skill 2, which is the summon, where she summons Gregor. Gregor's first action is S2 here. When Gregor does his loop pattern, it's the skill 1 that's only used once in 5 actions, which is TP, which is amazing. So there's a little bit of TP, but it's not going to be used quite as much. Bear that in action. Neneka's loop pattern, again, it's the S2, one that summons Gregor that is used the least, so we will bear that in mind when we go over the skills. So let's jump into the game and find our Neneka. I did do my summons last night. Thank you to everybody that came to watch. If you haven't seen the summons yet, then please feel free to look for the VOD and see how we did on there. We had a lot of fun doing those summons for Neneka. So here we go. We have got the Alpha Neneka. There is a lot to be getting on with, so let's get started then. So here is Neneka's Union Burst here. And as we can see, she deals large magical damage to all enemies in range, centered on one enemy character in front of you. The 2.4 times magical attack, 600 range. Depending on who you're fighting, depends on how far back this will go. Fighting a boss, you will hit all of the nodes, not a problem. Fighting a team, if you've got an opponent, say they're tanking with Lima or Miyako, it might not go back as far as if someone further back was tanking, but with the 600 range, Lima's position is 105 and the 112 for the sprite dimensions. This will go back and probably cover most characters anyway, or damage most characters anyway on the opposing team. So more or less AoE attack for all enemies. She's also lowering the magical defense of targets of this skill here by 121, it says there, and lowering the crit damage taken by 7%. Now, if Gregor is summoned, and as we see, Gregor is summoned from the skill 2, then damage will be increased by 2.4 times the magical attack of Gregor, and there will be an additional magical defense debuff of another 121. So there we go, that is the Union Burst. Let's jump over then to her skill 1. And we can see here that this deals medium magical damage to all enemies within range, centered on one enemy target in front of you. Same 600 range. Slightly reduces their magical defense by 51 there. That actually says 52. Mine must be slightly more powered up than the base stats. Physical and magical attack debuff as well. 6,900 now, as this is all scaled by skill level, so as skill level goes up, these skills will go up very slightly too. If Gregor is alive here, damage will increase by 1.2 times the magical attack of Gregor, and the magical defense debuff will also be doubled, so there'll be an extra 52 magical defense down when Gregor is summoned. So there we go. Let's move on then to skill 2. So this skill 2, I will note, has an 18-second duration instead of 12 seconds on the other skills. This is where we summon Gregor. It also greatly increases the magical attack power, magical crit rates of all allies within range, centered on the user. I've just been unchecked, and this is a 400 range, centered on Neneka. So that will go forward to position 247. Backwards it will get everybody forward to 247. Remember, we're adding an extra 112 for the sprites dimensions. So everybody on the dark magical team will be covered by this, apart from Cook Noir, which might not be the biggest problem. All allies are getting magical crit buff of 80. All allies are getting a magical crit damage buff of 10%. Now, dark allies will also get these buffs doubled. So it will be, as we can see here, about 10,000, it's over 10,000 magical attack buff for dark allies, 160 magical crit buff, and a 20% magical crit damage buff if they are a dark ally. So again, we're getting a bit of a mechanic in here, trying to promote or you to use Neneka here on a dark team, sticking to a single element. I don't think this restriction is as bad as some of the other alpha characters' elemental restrictions. She will still work okay off element, but definitely will work better on a full dark team. Now, if Gregor is alive, then Gregor will be getting 75 TP. Remember, Gregor is summoned from this skill, but she may do this skill again, and Gregor is still summoned on the battlefield. If Gregor is still there, he will be getting 75 TP. If Gregor isn't, he will be summoned. So let's go over and have a look at Gregor. We've got magical crit right there on the EX skill. We never really look at them again these days. So these are Gregor's skills at the bottom here. So when Gregor is summoned on the battlefield, he has these two skills. He's not the tankiest of summons, but he might take a bit of a role. Neneka likes the summons. It might take away a bit of damage from somebody else. Might be targeted. It might help in some way. But on top of that, this skill 1, this is the skill 1 that wasn't used as much. Slightly increases the TP gain of all allies other than Gregor. Recovers a small amount of TP. Consumes all of Gregor's TP. Recovering the TP of dark allies other than Gregor, according to the amount consumed. So we've got a TP boost buff of 5. That will be to all allies. I believe 50 TP to all allies. Self-drain of all of Gregor's TP. And then dark allies get the extra TP that Gregor drained. The more TP Gregor drains from himself, the more TP he will give to dark allies. I believe this is somewhere in the range of, well, 0 if he didn't drain any TP, and 100, so a dark ally could potentially get 150 TP restored if Gregor drained all, I believe it's 1,000 of his TP. There we are, a bit of a TP buff from Gregor there when Gregor summoned. Excellent stuff. Skill 2 for Gregor here. This one is that use a little bit more. It's a bit more of a buffing skill. It does deal large magical damage to all enemies within the same 600 range, a bit like Neneka. 2.2 times magical attack. It will drain 100 TP from the enemy, so we've got TP drain as well. It will heal Gregor himself by a small amount, looks like 19,400 odd. Is that a small amount? That's quite a large amount, actually. It seems. What is his hit points? His hit points are about 57,000, I believe. Might be wrong. That's off the top of my head. So a third of his health restored there. All of these effects here, the magical attack buff, the magical crit buff, will be doubled for Dark allies. So we've got about 5,000 again for all allies. A Dark ally will be getting about 10,000, 80 for non-Dark ally. Dark allies will be getting 80 magical crits. There we go. That is the skills of the Alpha Neneka. What do we think of it, and where does she fit in the game? There are characters, we haven't mentioned them yet, that are very similar to this. So what is their fate, and what is Neneka's fate? We should come over to that right now. So it is pretty clear here that Alpha Neneka is an excellent character, bordering on a must pull, if not a must pull, for a Dark magical team. But we have a few other characters out there that are very similar to her. Neneka here is doing absolutely everything apart from action speed buff. That's the only thing she doesn't really have there. And we've got Eris for that. We don't want to be stepping on Eris's toes with the action speed. That's not a big problem. Who might have a little bit of a problem is Warlock Jeeta. This Alpha Neneka does everything that Warlock Jeeta does, but a little bit better and with a little bit extra stuff there. So this we've got to have a little bit of a comparison here of the two characters here and what they do. And get this off the Precon Discord. Thank you very much for putting this up on there, just so we can have a little bit of a comparison between the two characters here. So damage wise, it seems that Neneka is doing more damage on an AoE team against a multiple target boss. When we are in a single target situation, the damage seems to be about the same. But as we can see here, now this is stats for Neneka with Dark allies. So if there's a non-Dark ally, then the attack buff and the crit damage buff will be halved. But as we can see there, at least with the attack buff, it will still be the same as what Warlock Jeeta is outputting. So there is similar magical defense down, very similar attack down, although Neneka does both damage types, not just magic. Much higher magical attack buffs if it's a Dark ally, and both of these characters are Dark. Most of them are going to be run on a Dark team anyway. Same with the crit for the team and the crit damage there. Same 20% TP. The Warlock Jeeta 75, which is in the middle of what Neneka can give. It will be up and down, but then Neneka also has 7% enemy crit damage taken, 5 team TP boost, and a bit of a TP steal in there. So, does this mean that Warlock Jeeta is going to be going to the retirement home? Depending on the situation. If you have one-for-one comparison, Neneka is better. She will replace Warlock Jeeta completely. We saw this when we did our run in the level 5 Kaiser Reminiscence battle fight in my stream yesterday. That Neneka can completely replace Warlock Jeeta here, take her position. But on the other hand, maybe Warlock Jeeta is going to be more sought after and valuable because they might end up running together. I did find it hard to make a full team. There was always still one spot on multiple target Dark Magic that we was a little bit iffy about. And that's role, I think, is where Jeeta is going to be run with this Neneka. As we can see here in 610 Dark Deep Quest, there are a couple of teams down here at the bottom, which you can't quite see. I'll move it across. There we go. Are both running Neneka and Warlock Jeeta, but for the vast majority of the fights that are here, you can see any of these fights. I do think that if you have not got Warlock Jeeta like myself, and you have got the Alpha Neneka, you could probably swap them out 1 for 1 and it would still work very well. So you can see there, Alpha Neneka works extremely well for deep quests. I'm pretty sure she's going to be used in clan battle as well. That will be the test for her and the Warlock Jeeta. When we get our clan battle teams for this month, we will see if they are both used together or if maybe the Warlock Jeeta is finally being put into retirement. Another character we maybe want to consider is Vampy 6-star next month. Her Union base is basically damaged and quite selfish attack to herself, so I can't see it. Can't see it maybe being hugely impactful, but we will have to see. We all have hope that Vampy will also be a great asset to the Dark Magical team. And for PvP, I don't think she's optimally designed for that. Her first skill is the one that summons Gregor. Gregor's first skill is the one that does do AoE damage. Neneka's second skill also does some damage. So there could be potentially, out of the 3 alpha characters, I think she is the one that is most likely to be okay in PvP. Definitely not designed for PvP, but it's worth a try. Maybe we could give it a go. She might actually be an option for a little bit of a fresh team in the PvP setting. So Alpha Neneka there, definitely a very good character, a very top priority, if not must pull for the Dark Magical team. You'll probably work well on a single target team as well as multiple targets, a bit like the Alpha Christina. So, for all of you that have already summoned, congratulations on getting here. If you haven't summoned yet, good luck for that. I am Tokkuri Yashi, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all again for another video. Bye 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 bye. Hey, hey.